Robot.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Hey, let's run that intro. Hey, in the famous words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in hopes that we wouldn't say it first, but truth must be told.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson. Peace.
Yo.
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Robot. This is about to be lit, Rod, because I kind of added a little stuff to the file to go along what you're saying, and we could go through it fast pretty much. But I'm gonna get that screen pulled up because, hey, if you're from Cali, you need to be on here right now. Send this to everybody in Cali.
Okay.
Man, go ahead.
So this is what this is about is the gangs that they call Bloods and Crips are actually tribes by different names according to government recognition. I'm going to show you how to find them. And this is what the class is about, to inform the brothers out there in the red and the blue. And it also applied to what we call cholos, the vatos, the lokes, right? You have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that came from South and Central America to Cali and set up sets. We're going to go into that, right? We're going to try to, because we got a lot of receipts, material for this class, but we're going to try not to drag the class out with all of the receipts. So we're going to skim over some of the reading part, and I'm going to point out what's critical to know. And I don't know how much of it we're going to read, because last time I wasn't intending on reading everything and read everything. So,
Hey, whatever we got to do. I'm up all night. Hey, for the ancestors. Hey, this is war. Let's do it. Let's go, baby.
and by you saying this is war, it's an information war.
Yeah.
It's a war for the truth of our identities on the land versus the paper genocide and the reclassification and replacement with other ethnic groups who masquerade as us. I forgot to send you the chief of the Blood Nation, because if they seen him, they die laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But we finna go into the receipts. So let's get into the documents, Elder.
All right.
So I went to AI and got a few things to help me.
All right. Good.
That's ties back in the day.
Yeah, it's just gonna say he just gonna say one thing. It's gonna go along with your class too.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
We're the true Americans. The European colonists took over and started calling themselves Americans and started changing the history, saying that they brought us here. We were always here. We were always here. You've got pyramid kutas in Central South America that are older than the pyramids in Giza in Misraim that the people call Egypt. Older. You've got civilization principles that are here in Lower Egypt that you call Kentucky and Tennessee area that is older than they are in what you call Egypt. But those things are held secret because they don't want these people to know that they're the heirs apparent to this land. So they branded them Negro, black, and colored to cut off the linear history. So when the people think they're Negro, black, and colored, they can't tie to the illustrious history of the founders of civilization. As a matter of fact, they keep trying to leave and everybody else trying to come here because they don't even know that this is the hub, the Northgate. We're the true Americans. The European colonists took over and started calling themselves Americans.
He's just gonna run it back.
Okay, now based on what he said, remember, no, Bourgeois Ali said you are not Negro, colored folks, but you are what your ancestors were, without a doubt or contradiction.
Right.
Right. So the classifications that they gave us don't represent us in truth. It represents us in the concealment of identities of the rightful heirs of the land, on the land. And they want everybody to believe that we was annihilated. We ain't never stopped fighting their ass, so how was we annihilated?
Right.
Next slide, Elder.
All right.
So we went over that one already in the last class, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate. The Emergency Banking Act of March 1933 defined the American people as the enemy legally of the United States government because of the U.S. bankruptcy through which the private international Federal Reserve System became the government. That's not our government. That's a banking entity that's using banking to put a stranglehold on all of the wealth of the land that belonged to the people from the land.
Right.
America got just as much oil as the Middle East and Africa. America got diamonds, it got rubies and sapphires, and it got all of the precious metals. They got the copper mines, the coal mines, the cobalt mines, all that shit over here, just like they got over in Africa. This land is just as fertile as Africa, but as long as they conceal the wealth of the land from the rightful heirs, they don't even know what they're fighting for. Now, so let's enlarge this.
This ain't your slide, but I don't know if you want to just talk about the this was the name of California before the became California.
Mm-hmm.
So
at the bottom, Island Paradise ruled by Queen Califia.
Yeah, right there. Yes, what I did.
Now remember, they keep telling her, see what it say, mythical?
Yeah.
They keep trying to say she didn't exist, but they keep, every time they bring California up, they throw her name in there because they have to always associate the Califias to California because they were the ones who divided the land up among the tribes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you got major tribes, and then you have sub-tribes. Sub-tribes in LA today is called sets.
Right.
Right. A major tribe would be Piru Blood or Crip.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the sets that fall under the name don't always have the same custom and tradition because they're oral tradition tribes. Mm-hmm. And that's why, unlike the Midwest tribes, who was exposed to paperwork early during colonization under the French, the English, and the Spanish, they carried on the oral tradition to this day. So they orders come down in a structure, and the local set leader is the OG of the set. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's a local tribal chief. Mm-hmm. OG stands for original grid. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. But we use the term grid. It's also an exonym. Mm-hmm. It's a name given by the foreigners to change our identity. Right. We didn't call our storytellers, griots. The closest thing in English you would say shaman,
Okay, right,
right? Or priest king,
right,
right? Because they have a spiritual obligation to the youngster coming up under them, and a moral obligation to teach them to do right, but they keep getting infiltrated by people that keep telling the youngsters to do wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's a picture of what the queen what she would look like and how she was dressed. Her
That's
hair
one
was
of them. So it was 5 that governed over from Alaska, west of the Rocky Mountains, from Alaska going into Mesoamerica, all the way to the Amazon on the east side of the Amazon. That was their territory.
Mm-hmm. That's
The
right.
same territory that Tupac Amaru come from and Chief Zolo.
Right.
Y'all know him. Y'all know him as Tupac Shakur and DMX.
Right. All right. I don't know if you want this right here slide that go. Your slide finna come up next, and then all your slides. I just thought this right here go like right there.
Yeah. So see where it says Flores Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo arrived in San Diego Bay.
Right.
This event marked the beginning of Spanish occupation of the region through colonization and settlement. Wouldn't begin for another 200 years. So even though they set a base up there, they couldn't do anything for 200 years. They couldn't conquer them West Coast tribes.
Right.
Right. Because they had to wait till the American government systematically worked their way from east to west. Right. Because it's just like now, when an outsider run into the wrong neighborhood in LA and try to tell him he ain't from no other set around there and he got on the wrong colors, he's a target.
Right. Yeah, what set you from?
Yeah. Right. If you got the wrong baseball cap on and you hit the wrong set, you a target.
That's right.
That means that you are unfamiliar with the local culture. Therefore, you a stranger and they don't know whether your intentions is good or bad. So they're going to treat you like the enemy. And that was the problem that they ran into for 200 years.
Right. Right. All right, here you go ahead, right?
Okay, so when they say that they gangs, now you see where it say blood tribe?
Right.
Right. It's the tribe of the Bloods. They all fall under the banner of Piru.
Right. Go ahead.
Right. Piru is the over tribe.
Fire. Come on.
And they birthed the Bloods. The Bloods came up in different sets in opposition to the rise of what we call today Crips. But we're going to show you, because the Bloods don't call them Crips, they call them Crabs.
Go ahead.
And we're going to go into that after I show you about the Blood Nation.
Right.
When they say they're not federally recognized, they federally recognized. They just not recognized for who they are because they have these imposters masquerading as the tribe.
Right.
Right. So the tribe is called the Kayani, and the Kayani language is part of the Blackfoot linguistic group and is mutually intelligible with dialects of other Blackfoot nations.
Wow, the Creek.
So,
okay,
culture. The Kainai have rich cultural practices. This is not the first page on there too either. I think you put them out of order. But we're gonna go with what we got because it must be a reason. Okay. They have a cultural practice including the veneration, the ceremonial bundles, and the celebration of events like Sundance, where we call it bee walking for the Bloods.
Yeah, and sea walking for the Crips. Yeah.
The governance. The Kainai Nation is actively engaged in governance initiatives and addressing modern economic and environmental challenges. Oh. Right.
There we go.
Okay, now look at this is the picture of the where they got the reservation in Canada. Yeah. This is the picture of the reservation. Look what it say: Blood Indian Reserve 148.
Go ahead.
member of the Blackfoot Confederacy. We know the Blackfoot originate from the Mississippian tribes.
Yep, Alabama, that area, Georgia.
Yeah. And the reason that why they set this up in Canada, because we called them from Canada to fight Gullah Wars.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. These are symbols, right? These are symbols that we used to use, but if you look at the bottom and the center, you will see the beat. Right? Yeah, right there.
Healing.
Can you zoom in on it, Elder? Because I want them to see that it's actually a real letter B.
Can you see it?
Yep. And it also kind of look like a Bluetooth, don't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's read a little bit about what's over there on the other side.
All right, right here.
Okay, so this is the coastal Salish people. This tribe is called Crabs. They definitely not in order. This tribe is called, they used to call the tribe Crabs. And they were calling them crabs, not because of a derogatory term, because they survived off using the crab.
Go ahead.
And this is the name for the Crip, because the Crip is called the Crabs by the Bloods who know who they are.
Go ahead.
Right? So the people was called Salish people, and potentially other coastal indigenous groups, they say other sects, have a long history of consuming and utilizing crabs as a food source and cultural resource.
Right.
The crab, or AX in their language, holds a place of significance in their tradition and is seen as a symbol of abundance and sustenance. While not as central to their culture as salmon, they have harvested, traded, and shared crab for how long?
Millennia.
Millennia. Here's a modern detailed look at the role of crabs in native culture. So as a food source, I ain't gonna read all that.
Yeah, right. But, you know.
Let me go to the next one. These are other tribal symbols. Let's zoom in on the symbols first. And if you look, you see them dancing, the health and balance, the edge of life, right? The bison and success and alertness. All these ancient tribal symbols that find their way back as graffiti in what they call gang territory when they tag their territory.
Go ahead.
They used to use these symbols to represent the tribe, and they used to write it in the sand, write with rocks on the bigger rocks, right? And so we didn't have flags. We had totem poles. And they would use the symbols that you seeing in order to match up the character of the local set to make their local totem pole. So that when the other tribes come around and they see the totem pole, this was what they are reading.
Right.
They reading the symbols of the totem pole just like you read these symbols. Right? Now, traditional practices, it's still dealing with the crabs. Crabs were often harvested at different times of the year, depending on the availability and specific tribe practices. Some tribes, like the Nootka, collected crabs throughout the year, while others may have focus on specific seasons. So all of them collectively would be Crip sets.
Go ahead.
Symbolic important. Coast Alicia culture, the crab is revered as the symbol of abundance, sustenance, and spiritual significance. This is why the crab was a symbol for the Crips. But we don't know that another symbol for the Bloods is the red crab.
Go ahead.
Because the Piru is Crip spelled backward with the C on its side.
Go ahead.
Tribal flip is telling you when Tukey woke up the Crips, the Bloods have to wake up because they know that they're invaders on the land and they got to fight. They just don't know they ain't supposed to be fighting each other.
Go ahead.
Right? Okay, so beyond food, our primary food source, Native Americans also utilize other parts of the crab, such as the shell, for practical purpose like boat bale or as fertilizer, according to whoever that person is.
Yeah, it says Jacqueline something. Okay.
Janice Petrie.
Yeah, Janice Petrie.
Yeah, that's her website.
All right, here we go.
So as we go through these, when you look at this, you'll see that this is an article about the tribes. This is not the AI print like we was just reading, right? Now listen to this. This is a common line among white people in the Pacific Northwest. The story, besides racist, is factually wrong and biologically impossible. Here's the real story. They talk about the crab in the bucket story, right? The Dungeness crab fishery, like all in Washington, is co-managed by the state and tribes. They've been working together for years. Yes, the Dungeness crab fishery collapsed dramatically in 2016. Okay, so it's talking about the fishery. This ain't the one talking about the crab in the buckets. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife harvest. Okay, so then they had some kind of conflict with the fishery. But this was brought up because it's another part to this article. They have some critical information in it, and it's a continuation of the article, but they definitely didn't come in order. So over here, let's see what this is. This explanation was widely reported in the media, including the Tacoma News Tribune. Nevertheless, many believe the alternate theory the Indians wiped them out. They say the same thing about salmon, the species. Okay, so now they're talking about overfishing, over-harvesting of the land, right? And industrializing of the fish trade.
And blame it on us.
Yeah, that ain't the part I want to read, though. Okay, so now we get into the ones that should have been first, I believe.
Man. Yeah, I got them in the order you sent them to me too. I put them in the same order.
They could have just, when I sent them, because I sent them in batches, and what probably happened is they didn't all come through on your phone at the same time, but they came in the batch. Yeah. So let's zoom in on this. Let's see what this one's talking about.
All right, it's a crab. Here we go right here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so now this talk about the land acquisition from the tribes out west. It said the Minister John Cotton provided the theological justification for land acquisition. The theological justification is called the right of discovery from the Catholic Church, the doctrine of discovery, which has been since the church has disassociated itself from. The natives had not fulfilled the first commandment to subdue the earth and have dominion over it. So they saying because they didn't live against the harmony of the earth, that they wasn't civilized. That's what that means. Therefore, in a vacant soil, he that taketh possession of it and bestoweth culture and husbandry upon it, his right it is. And then they named the land Columbia River. They named the land. The Columbia River is named after Christopher Columbus. Dungeness, first the location and later the crab, was a name bestowed by George Vancouver in 1789. You see what they doing? So they imposing their definitions of who we are in our culture and how we interact with the land to determine whether we're supposed to be civilized or not. And this is their justification for the claiming of our land that we living on.
Mm-hmm.
Both the river and the crab are now reeling under human impacts. And now they want to know, now you know why they live with nature as opposed to slap nature in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. This is very important. Most of the local tribes signed treaties in 1855. Remember that 200-year mark?
Right.
This is another 200 years later.
Fighting them for war. They said that the wars was like 200 and some years worth of wars. They're fighting them.
Yeah, because we didn't lay down. This is what we have to. This is why the only thing they did was stopped us from fighting the enemy and made us fight each other.
Right. Dang.
Through sociological engineering. Sociology is the science they use. Propaganda is the method they use. Hegelian dialect is the philosophy they use. coming from the doctrine called Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion.
Right.
And the playbook is called The Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike. Now, pay attention to this next part.
Okay.
Most of the local tribes signed treaties in 1855, or whites marked an X on their behalf, an invalid treaty. You can't sign the same treaty I'm signing on my behalf while I'm present.
I heard my granddaddy say something like that about that's how they stole his daddy land with the
Yeah. Now watch this. Giving away 99% of their lands, but keeping hunting and fishing rights at their accustomed places. So now you can see the strategy that they was using to move us and corral us where they wanted us on the land.
Damn.
It said, but even the tribes had to fight for, in the late 60s and early 70s, Billy Frank Jr. and others fought the fish wars against the state and federal government for the right to fish. Right? In 1974, Judge Bolt issued his famous ruling granting the tribes 50% of harvestable fish. Now the state, federal, and tribal governments co-manage the fisheries, but that still doesn't sit well with some whites.
Damn.
Remember, the white man ain't got nothing to do with skin color. Right? This is another crab reference right here. So let's read this one. Everyone has heard the crabs in the bucket story. This is the part when I was talking about. Most indigenous people. Now we hear it in our community all the time, but watch what it say. Most indigenous people have heard it applied to themselves and their communities. Who do they always call crab in the buckets?
Black community.
They don't call no crackers. They don't call no crackers crabs in the bucket. They don't call no Hispanics crab in the bucket. They don't call nobody that but us. Right? So a big old bucket of Indian crabs pulling at each other so that others can't move into the suburbs with the mollusks and the starfish.
Wow, that's definitely, I mean.
They talking about a whole different two other tribes.
Go ahead.
Right? The word of George Watsky, don't drag each other down cause being a crab in the bucket is mad lonely. Be the crab escaping from crab prison who creates a crab rope out of the crab window made only of crab homies.
Right.
That's Crip shit.
Right.
Right. All you got to do is take crab out and put Crip there.
Right. Just take the A. The vowels are interchangeable.
Yeah.
Then put the P, flip the B to the P.
Yeah.
Flip the P. Yeah.
This is like a motto of Crips for helping each other. Right. But it's in here is told as the story of the crab in the bucket.
Wow.
Identifying what tribes they talking about.
Right.
Right. Because they don't call nobody else crabs in the bucket but us.
Yeah. Because everybody else help the Mexicans come over here, they help each other out. Every other race help each other out and don't hold each other back. We the only, right. That's the only, the American Negroes.
And the reason why everybody wanted to stay away from us that came here is because the war was against the righteous Moors and the dirty Moors.
Go ahead.
And we look alike, but we different people.
Go ahead.
Right? We phenotypically similar in skin color and hair texture, but we fundamentally different in character and personality. Have y'all ever asked why it is like this? That term lateral violence should ring some bells. If one who is oppressed, aka held back by society, cannot strike upward to the powers that be, then they will strike outwards to those who are the children, sacred gifts from the Creator, family members, aunts, uncles, and yes, even elders. The arrows get shot every which way, anyways but up. Power, force and power without direction is total destruction. Quote, FOIs. That's their thing.
Yeah.
And this is what this is talking about. They say, hold up, wait a minute, let's spin in it. Okay, let's go to the next side. The other side, yeah. Not all indigenous people are like this. We have some of the most beautiful, build you up and give you the shirt off our back people. That's us.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Columbus' diary.
That's right.
He described us, and this is how he described us. They'll give you everything they have, but don't cross them. He didn't know that part. My grandma is the type of gal who will hug first and ask questions later. I know people who will pray for you without the bat of an eye. Everybody knows you can't walk into an indigenous person's house without them trying to feed you. Cultural recognition and identity of Big Mama.
Pretty much.
If that's not top notch host sharing skills, I don't know what is. I know indigenous people volunteer their asses off to create better communities. We need to be asking who put the crabs in the damn bucket in the first place, because that shit ain't right. Yes.
So,
in this blog, I will blatantly use bad grammar and pop culture references and cuss like a drunken sailor.
I heard somebody say that before. All right, crabs.
Mm-hmm.
Red crab, blue crab.
If you choose C, you are bloody, brilliant, and brave. Now think about this for yourself. This is the second page of 2 pages that's not in order. How do you get out of the bucket and get your fellow crab mates out too, so that you all can live best traditional life possible? Jailbreak. Stay tuned. I'll be defining the bucket and some exit strategies, but I'd love to hear yours.
All right. We got some more bucket stuff right here.
So we were placed in this bucket, aka reservations. Thank you, treaty interpreters, for mucking up the translation. Over the past 200 years, given less than what was afforded to the rest of society, banned from doing what made us proud, beautiful, and strong, meaning culture-related prohibitions, children taken away and abused on all levels, residential schools, and 60 scoop. And then a generation after we became citizens, we are told by a good portion of society who knows nothing about the historical generational impacts to get over it.
Wow.
I hate when they tell you that. Our people ask, why are those Indians like that? Are all Indians drunk? Why are they doing this to themselves? I even asked that. I'm indigenous. Alas, this was a time before I got schooled in what has happened in ways that First Nations people are still being discriminated against.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the bucket. What do we know? A, have a badass crab party until all claws fall off. Or B, elect a crab chief who will govern us, even though we may have never done this before. The bucket holders told us to do it, and they cut off the rations. C, get the fuck out the bucket.
Hey, this isn't a long early design. This in their protocols, the crab in the bucket thing.
Mm-hmm.
Scenario.
So this is the first part to the one we just got done reading first. So when he said, if you choose A, which I'm guessing some of you have, give your head a shake. Wrong answer. Your children will dance on your bones and they will still be in the bucket. If you choose B, I understand why. Rocking the bucket when things are kind of cushy and you can get by. If you choose C, you are bloody, brilliant, and brave. Now think about this for yourself. How do you get out of the bucket and get your fellow crab mates out too? So you all can live the best traditional life possible. Now you see where he keeps saying bloody brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Blood lingo.
That's why you know he from a certain part of the world too. They say bloody up in London and stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm. But he's saying it because he's making a reference to the tribes that they calling crabs in the bucket on the West Coast. Right. This is what this article is about.
He's shooting the flip.
So remember, he put the Crip lingo in the quote, and then here he using the blood lingo.
I
So
see it.
he's telling you in the article without telling you who these tribes are. But I want to go to the maps. Okay, now this is a northwest by Oregon, Washington area, Vancouver, British Columbia, Seattle, Washington, right? And this is where the Crab tribe had settled for the longest time, for millennia. The reason that they moved south, because when we moved to go fight the Gullah Wars, we traveled south first, then we moved east across the land.
Okay.
Right. So the map is showing you, we can zoom in on that page right here. We can read it. Okay. Remember we was talking about the Salish tribe being the ones referred to as crabs.
Right.
Right. The coastal Salish tribes traditionally inhabit the Pacific Northwest coast, primarily in the Puget Sound region, the Straits of Georgia, and southern Vancouver Island. Their territory also extends eastward into the hills of the Cascade Mountains, which is part of the Rockies, and down river valleys. Salish-speaking groups also resided in parts of western Washington state and along the coast of British Columbia. In Montana, the Confederate Salish and the Kootenai tribes reside on the Flathead Reservation, which is located north of Interstate 90 between Missoula and Kalispell. Now, they're telling you where they replace the tribes with the people that's on the reservation.
Go ahead.
Right? And it's telling you where the federal recognition and the financial support system for the Dawes Roll Indians was funneled away from the real tribes in order to pay people to masquerade to be them. Now, some of the tribes took sides with us, and we know them because we taught them certain things that we recognize our culture in. Okay, now look at this. California is home to 109 federally recognized Indian tribes. 109 federally recognized Indian tribes. These tribes have diverse histories and cultures, spanning from the coast to the mountains and deserts. A few examples include the Agua Caliente Band of Coahuila Indians and Yurok tribe, which is probably York tribe, and the Barona Band of Mission Indians, right? But there's 109 tribes. Now, we break them up into bigger portions because you might have a bigger set that got 3 or 4 smaller sets in it, right? The Yurok tribe, the largest tribe in California with a large number of members and a territory spanning the northern coast. The Karuk tribe, located in Northern California with traditional territories in Humboldt, Siskiyou, and Trinity counties. And the Hoopa tribe, found in Hoopa Valley and surrounding areas, known for their traditional basket weaving and language. When you see they say basket weaving, you follow the culture of that tribe. And if they say that they was taught by the old spider lady, that means they were taught by Mississippi and Big Mama, because she is the spider lady that taught all the women of the land weaving. And she passed it down in succession through her daughters. Right? And they're going to name some more tribes. We're not going to go into all them. We go to the next slide, Elder. Okay, now, when you see them break the map up like this, it's the same as tribes breaking the sets up. This is what the sets look like on the map. Right? Now, they call it 109 recognized tribes, making up the whole of California. Who got the right to run California, the tribes or the corporation? I vote for tribes. Right? And it's just going into all these other tribes that they're telling you. Yep, they're telling you about all these other tribes right here.
This right here tribe right here come from the Khalifa tribe, the Chamas.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Yeah.
if you look at that map, each one of them areas, that's the same way LA broke up with sets.
That's right.
Same way. But they did the sets form naturally when they reconstituting the tribe. They not using the same name that they used to use because most of the names is exonyms because they French and Spanish names. Right? So when they rename themselves, they're gonna name themselves something that's gonna identify them with their cultural past that's in their DNA. You can't escape what's in the genes. So it's known that if Tukey wake up the Crips, he gonna wake up the Bloods because that's supposed to be the West Coast Guard, right? And because of the Spanish invasion from Mexico, the Mexicans become brothers under the resistance. We talking Emilio Zapata, we talking Zapatista, who made treaties with the Panthers. Most of us don't know that because we don't study our own history like that. But look at how they break the land up, and this shows you how the tribes naturally form. The same way this look is how the tribes naturally form. And this is the same way the Bay Area broke up just like this too, with different sets that's got different areas that they allotted to live on, and they supposed to be living in harmony with the people in their set. Right.
Funny.
Go ahead, Elder.
I was gonna say this mighty funny that the Khalifa tribe is right here by that island that they said. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad you gave me. I just looked at that map real close.
Let's go to the next slide.
That's deep. All right, here we go right here.
I'm gonna post all of these receipts in proper order on my Instagram and Facebook so that y'all could go over them and see what I'm talking about. Right. It said there were numerous Native American tribes in California before who colonized it. And they were diverse in language, culture, and territory. Some notable tribes, and name the major tribes, the number of distinct dialects within these tribes could be as high as 135.
Hold on, let me roll up.
We can skip to the next slide. That's just going into the details about that. Okay, now look at this again. Indigenous people of California is showing you a different map with the same breakdown. And if the people naturally gather like this, they're going to naturally gather like this. The only people that do that is the sets in the out west. All of the ones, all of the ones that not from it, they don't fit in. Right? I ain't gonna read that. That's just telling you about the tribes and languages. I want to look at the map. Right? Now look at this. These are West Coast Indians. These pictures we finna see of these people. I did not paint one picture.
Right.
I did not make one drawing of these people, and I did not take one photograph. All I did was went and looked up California Indians and got y'all. So this is the ceremonial garb. Now, we see them like this. How do you see them today? Look at the hyphy clowns. The same culture. These are, they getting hyphy right here.
Right. West Coast.
Right. West Coast. This West Coast culture. They dressed up like this because they finna have a dance off. The dance off was to prevent the bloodshed. And some of them dance off be pretty damn aggressive.
Like, yeah, I see them. I be seeing them.
Yeah. Next one, Elder. What's this talking about? Okay, desire the U.S. to acquire the West Coast from Native Americans stem from a combination of factors, including economic opportunities, expansionist ideology, and the perceived need to secure strategic advantage, right? And then the rest of it just goes into explaining each one of the strategies that they was using. Trade and commerce, land speculation, right? Manifest destiny expansion. Manifest destiny is the white man's burden, which is following the edict of Vatican called the Discovery Doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
West Coast Indians.
The diggers. The digger Indians.
These West Coast Indians.
Look how dark that people is.
That's all I'm saying. They West Coast Indians. Everybody out west that's dark like that don't have nappy hair.
That's right.
But due to the tribes intermarrying with the nappy hair, a lot of them became curly hair.
He look just like James Brown. James Brown
Yep.
got these people in him. Yep.
West Coast Indians.
Yep.
West Coast Indian. That she could pass for my sister.
Right. She look like my sister too. My little sister.
Mm-hmm. West Coast Indian.
Yeah, she got Ho Shin in her. Ho Shin. I got that in this thing. It's gonna come up sooner or later.
I'm not sure. Let me read that caption. I'm not sure if he a West Coast Indian, but he might be.
Okay, yeah, you sent me this picture too. It says something about California. It says the ancient, new, now extinct. It says Olana people of California shows clear.
That's West Coast Indian.
Yeah.
Remember when I say when some of them mixed with the straight hair ones mixed with the nappy hairs that got curly hair?
Yeah.
West Coast Indian. I ain't take that picture.
Go ahead.
That's just a simple Google search looking up West Coast Indian.
Hey, and then
He look like my nephew.
That's right. He looked like my cousin. Like it's a person. Look, it's a dude. It's three white guys that wrote on what they seen when they came over here from Russia. It's on that tape I just put out called the California Black Indians. When they explain, and everybody you showing is what they explain in their anthropologist research. That's what they describe.
You know the thing I find funny? That the people that came over here and brought the Native American as their servants and their indentures described us as looking like this.
Yeah.
Like me, you, and this fella.
Yeah.
But 200, 300, 400 years later, we think they talking about some other kind of Indians.
Now,
that's West Coast Indian too.
Yeah, West Coast Indian, and you know what who we connect with? Back to the tribe, Dan and the Fuzzy Wuzzies and the Far people. So they that's why we was on both sides, and they show these people. They show these people over there with corn, and they show us we had corn over here in Texas. So they
originate over here because they have the story of corn in the temple writings in Mexico.
Right. That's what they cultivated it. That's what they cultivated it down in Mexico. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the carbon from the corn was used to make the physical human body, by the way.
Yeah. So
corn had to be older than the people. Let that sink in.
Hey, Rod, and this tribe become known over here as the Shoshone Native Americans, and that's the tribe that come down from what's that chief name? The chief he was the son of the Shoshone. He was a Shoshone chief. Somebody drop it in the chat. But it connects with Ben York. Ben York's son. Ben York's son was a Shoshone chief. But these guys here, they connect with the Fuzzy Wuzzies and the Afar people and the Mad Jays. They was hunting these vampires. Remember that tape I put out called Vampires, where it's talking about the dark skin. They look like us. They were hunting. These guys were hunting them. The dark skinned guys, they look like us, but they ain't us. They were hunting them. Yeah. There you go, right here, Rob.
West Coast Indian.
West Coast Indian. That's my essays.
I got cousins look like that.
Yeah.
All these people look like relatives of mine, and I didn't take none of these pictures though, and these are not direct relatives to anything, the extended family that I never met.
Go ahead.
But he looked just like a couple of my cousins.
Go ahead. Fire.
Right, West Coast Indian.
West Coast Indians right here.
West Coast Indian. Zoom in on the faces.
Like my cousin, grandma and them down there.
The West Coast Indians.
Man, this right here person definitely look like somebody I know.
Mm-hmm. West Coast Indians. West Coast Indians. See the
Okay.
totem poles behind them? Remember I was telling you about totem poles earlier?
The
Now
totem
these
pole.
are mixed because these have dark skin and light skin that look almost Asian in them.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I got that in here, Roy. It's gonna come up. The all the information about that gonna come up. Okay. Yeah, this fire. You can see that dude right there in the back. He look Asian too. But the Asians, it's gonna come up right here. All the information about that.
Remember, we was already intermixing and mingling on the West Coast with China, Japan, Thailand, the Philippines, long before the European even knew them countries existed.
Right. That's right. Before he even got free with Marco Polo.
Yep, a West Coast Indian chief right here.
They look like they look like old boy from Goody Mall.
It'd be like half our uncles.
Yeah.
Almost all of us got an uncle that kind of look like that.
Yep. That's right. That's fine. That's fine.
Natives of California.
Yeah.
You can tell those are indigenous and Asian hybrids.
Yeah.
You can see both the dark skin and the Asian features all blended together.
Right.
But I didn't paint that picture.
They
West Coast Indian.
Really, they the same people as the dude we just showed with the sword, but they just got the more of the Hindu mix or the Asian mix. You put this in here, bro? I think this one of your
Okay, this is the sister off out west that won Miss Native American.
Go ahead, fire.
Right, she won Miss Native American, and she was competing against the Huns and Mongolian girls too. Right. So this was an article about her. I'm gonna be posting this article on my Instagram and Facebook page. But I wanted to show y'all. There's some more pictures of her gonna come up, and we gonna get to see her. And her name is on there too. This her too. West Coast Indian. I ain't making this shit up. West Coast Indian. See, a picture worth 1,000 words. For you to see her with us with your own two eyes is a whole nother level of teaching. She won Miss Native American. Look at her. She look like my daughter.
She look like my little sister.
That's all I'm saying. It speaks for itself.
That's how you know the Chinese got up in there.
It's her too. That's another picture of her. See with the blanket?
Yeah.
Some tribes it's the blanket and some tribes it's the slipper. But that's passing her the protection and the right of the tribe. But in this case, it's the ceremonial dress for the pageant. I think that's her father, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Looking like my Uncle Jackie.
Yeah, he look like my Uncle Jeffrey. Yeah, Uncle Jeffrey, he got look the red and the red. They red like that. My granddaddy looked like that too, though.
But we don't know who he is, Elder.
Right? That's what they told us. All right.
I think this is it. I think this is a different. No, this her. No, that's a different one. This is a different Saba Williams. Look what she said. I'm a mixed race woman who grew up in Native American community in Oakland, California. I attended many Native American ceremonies, powwows, and cultural events. I am very proud of my Native American heritage. I also hope to learn more about my African American side of the family.
Right.
Wait till she find out them niggas ain't from Africa.
Right. But hey, a couple of them finding out that now that was the one another game they run.
We used to ride them, walk on them. We used to make them use them in conflict and war. Make them trample a whole troop of them motherfuckers. So they wanted to kill the buffalo because we was using them in warfare.
Right, that makes sense. The same thing that was happening in Egypt when they used the hippo over there on that side.
And the elephant.
Yeah. And
remember Hannibal marched with the elephant?
That's right. That's right.
So none of this stuff is made up. This is all cultural stuff that we did back then that the receipts that I'm showing show you that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Remember,
Right.
we showed you when we used to wear the wolves.
Right.
The Buffalo Soldiers they was forced to fight in the military because you had to choose between the lesser of two evils. But the Buffalo Soldiers, look at them. This is the tribe of the men that used to dress up like buffaloes and walk among the buffaloes. That's how they got the name Buffalo Soldier.
They even
When we
got
get a little
Buffalo
further,
right there. He got
yeah,
Buffalo right there.
yep. When you get a little further, you're going to see that the Black Panthers started off as the Black Panther Brigade out of Mississippi, and the Oakland branch came after.
He got Buffalo on right here. He got all of them got Buffalo on, just about a lot of them. Buffalo outfits on.
Mm-hmm. Or hats.
Yeah. Right here. They go with
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo. Wow. All right. I think we already read this right here. That's the desire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This right here, we already, I think we went through this. Oh, it's the cut off part. Was his the concepts manifest destiny believed that the U.S. was destined to expand its domains across the
We
continent.
read that already.
Okay, all right. Was it okay? It was it. Read it. All right, here we go. Here.
Buffalo Soldier with the movie.
Yeah.
With Danny Glover.
Yep. I think I got that out there in my collection. I ain't never watched it. I'm about to go watch it though.
This is a book about the Black Panther Brigade
Okay.
in World War II. Now remember, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense out of Oakland, California didn't rise up until like 60-something, 62, something like that.
Right.
61. Right. But this was the Black Panthers, the 761st Tank Battalion.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the origin. Most of the guys on there is from the South that you see on top of that.
Right. Louisiana and Mississippi. Yep.
Yep. They all from the South.
Yep.
And according to General Patton, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have won World War II.
Right.
He know better than me because he was there.
Go ahead.
He also said that if America was ever liberated, it would be because of the men of the 761 Tank Battalion. He couldn't say Black Panther in the public because that would identify him with a tribe. But it said the Black Panther Brigade refers to two distinct but related groups, the 761st Tank Battalion and the Black Panther Party. The 761st Tank Battalion was an African-American tank battalion during World War II, known for its bravery and combat record. The Black Panther Party was a revolutionary organization that emerged in the 1960s, advocating for Black liberation and self-defense. Right? Now, you see how they put them together, right?
Right.
This is because once the Black Panther Party in Oakland started, the Mississippians that was in Mississippi sent G. Jigger, Geronimo Pratt, to go teach them, which we have Geronimo Pratt on video and audio saying the elders sent him to teach them how to organize because he was he got out of the military to go and help them to organize, and that's why they end up giving him that trumped up case and sending him to prison for 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is Geronimo.
Mm-hmm.
Historical native chief Geronimo. The crash out that don't take no S from nobody. He would crash out on you if you disrespect him or somebody that's he care about or he protected. He'll crash out on you. He'll give you them hands. And if it ain't right, he'll give you that thumper too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay, yeah. They said, could you talk about how they sent Geronimo Pratt to train these guys
That's
because of
what I
the.
just. That's what I was just talking about.
Oh, you just yeah, you was just going on there. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So between Geronimo Pratt and George Jackson, those were the military advisors to Bobby Seale and Huey Newton.
Mm-hmm.
And Eldridge Cleaver was the newspaper editor.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Soul on Ice, Man on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All that's tribal code.
Mm-hmm. That's a symbol. I think the Black Panther Brigade using this symbol first.
This is the Black Panther Brigade. It's a little bit different from the Black Panther Party. You see, this one is coming from right to left, but the Black Panther Party is coming from bottom to top.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Right. So this is different. So this is the Black Panther Party from Mississippi.
Okay.
They also had Mississippi political party that the Black Panther Brigade started in Mississippi. And then they had other branches that had different names we're going to get into in a minute. Out of, I think it was out of either Texas or Louisiana. The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966 in Oakland, California by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. Now remember, the World War II ended in 1945.
Go ahead.
The Black Panther Brigade fought in World War II.
Yeah.
Its initial goals included patrolling Black neighborhoods to protect residents from police brutality and advocating for Black liberation. Evolution of programs. The party later evolved into a more radical organization with a Marxist ideology calling for the arming of all African Americans, the release of all Black prisoners, and compensation for centuries of exploitation. They also developed social programs such as free breakfast for children and medical clinics, as well as being instrumental in the founding of ambulances, because we used to have to take our own people to the hospital.
That's right.
In relation to the 761, while the two groups share the same name, they are distinct entities. The 761st was a military unit fighting during World War II, while the Black Panther Party was a political and social movement that emerged after the war, advocating for the right of liberation of African Americans in the United States. But they know we ain't Africans, though, by the way.
Right.
This book is called Patton's Panthers, because General Patton loved these guys with his passing ass, because he was passing. General Patton was passing and General MacArthur was passing. They both was the same as your Pope. They had their drop of blood, the power. It say his case wasn't the only one. The FBI refused to investigate white supremacists within the police department for decades. It investigated Marcus Garvey instead of the roots of the Tulsa Massacre, and with COINTELPRO infiltrated movements like the Black Panther Party in order to take them down. Now, if they didn't look like us, they couldn't infiltrate them.
Right.
Because it wasn't until they found out that they was being infiltrated by people that looked like them did they start reaching out to other groups like the Weather Underground to make alliances to fight all oppression, because they found out that it was some people that looked like us that was running the show behind the scenes.
All right, this is you probably can't be able to read this, but this is the FBI file on how they set Geronimo Pratt up. They marked out some of the names that was involved, but this, you can go look this up. This public record on how Geronimo Pratt got set up by the government.
And it took Johnny Cochran 27 years to get him out.
Yeah, to get him out. Yeah.
See what that said? The original Black Panthers of Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah, that's up. Yeah.
Right. Now remember, the reason why the Black Panthers is part of the stealth force of tribes, along with the Black Bear Clan, the Black Wolf Clan, the Black Eagle Clan, the Black Hawk Clan, right? It's a whole bunch of them. Any of them that put black in front of it, it means that the priesthood was the defenders of the land, and they was operating as if they was regular people. Right? But they was still trying to figure out how to win the war. Somebody had called this brother a Black Panther. He said, calling me a Black Panther is not an insult. Black Panthers weren't a black version of the KKK. They were creators of modern school breakfast program. They fed children, protected seniors, and defended their neighborhood against white supremacist violence.
That's right.
Another, the Black Panther Party was created in Lowndes County, Mississippi. I lived in a neighborhood built by free black folks before emancipation. There's a reason they don't want us to teach our history in schools, because if you knew your history, you would be an actual radical and not counter-revolutionary talking stupid on the internet. Let's look at the picture he put up.
Pull the lever for the Panthers. Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh,
remember, it was a political party too.
Yep, that's right. For
they was trying to put people like this in office.
Mm-hmm.
Because they was trying to take over the machine from the inside.
Right.
But the machine, you can't take it over from the inside because there's too many people that look like you that's supporting the machine. Now, listen, the lady say you a damn lot of Black Panther parties created in Oakland, California, not Mississippi, but she don't know what she's talking about. Black people in Mississippi wouldn't dare create any black militant group like the Black Panthers. They don't understand Mississippi. Mississippi never laid down for nobody.
Right. That's why it's still fighting now. That's why it's still going on now.
No Black Panther Party had chapter in the South. The cities that had Black Panther Party chapters were, okay, those were out of the Oakland, California Black Panthers, but there was Black Panthers before those Oakland Panthers started the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Mm-hmm. And this is when he say those folks in Oakland were inspired by Lowndes County Freedom Party, also known as the Black Panther Party. A simple Google would dispel your ignorance. You can Google the Deacons of Defense and Robert F. Williams, who wrote Negroes with Guns. The Deacons of Defense is the other group I was talking about.
They're going to come up, I think, a picture of it. Here you go, right here.
A group of black men in Jonesboro, this is the Deacons of Defense right here, in Jonesboro, Louisiana, led by Ernest Chili Willie Thomas and Frederick Douglass Kirkpatrick, found the Deacons for Defense and Justice to protect civil rights activists. So they were serving more as security for the activists, like the dudes with the white hats at the 63 March.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. They was doing that kind of work for activists. The Deacons, most of them veterans of the Korean War, World War II. Remember, the Black Panther Brigade was from World War II, or both, began providing protection after the Congress of Radical Equality's Freedom House became a target of the Ku Klux Klan. They went on to provide security for civil rights leaders and for events such as the 66 March Against Fear in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the year the Panthers in Oakland started. The history of California includes numerous conflicts between native tribes and various colonizing forces, including Spanish, Mexican, and American settlers. California couldn't have been in conflict with Mexicans because they was the Mexicans until the Mesoamerican War.
That's right.
Right. While the Spanish and Mexican colonial periods were not marked by large-scale wars like those seen later, there was resistance to the mission system and other forms of Spanish-Mexican control. See, now they give in Mexico and the people of Mexico the blame for what the Spanish did to Mexico and the people of Mexico. Right. So they got the disease, forced labor, destruction of traditional life under the mission system led to significant population decline and cultural disruption for indigenous people. The Miwok or Yoku tribes, for example, engaged in raids in Mexican California during the 1830s, 1840s, the American period.
Right.
The American period post 1848, California genocide. Do we need to say more? The period following the Mexican-American War in California statehood was marked by widespread violence against Native Americans and other characterized as genocide. Remember, I did that the video on the scalping of us
Yeah, bring the scalp.
Right. This
Yeah.
is what they're talking about. The state and federal government, as well as individual settlers and militias, participated in these acts of violence.
Mhm.
Examples and conflicts. The Mariposa War, 1850 to 1851, sparked by the gold rush. This conflict involved the Awanichi and Chawachilla tribes resisting encroachment on their lands. Bald Hills War. Okay, I ain't gonna read that one because
Yeah, you ain't got rid of it. It's a couple more that talks about all the wars. I got a whole tape on it. But it goes to the rest of the wars that the conflicts. It was like about 15 different wars that they had with the conflict with these people.
Hey, did you feed these receipts in the AI yet?
Yeah, I got the tape coming out on Sunday.
Yeah, I want to listen to it, so send it to me as soon as you post it.
Yeah, so I got 3 of them already out. I got the Queen tape and the California Black Indians and the Gold Rush tape is already out. So this information is already out on the Gold Rush tape.
Okay, so the U.S. formally acquired California in 1848 through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War. The treaty ceded a vast portion of the Southwest, including present-day California, to the United States. Now, remember, we were just talking about that. Right. While California was officially admitted to the Union as the 31st state on September the 9th, 1850, which means it had been formally annexed, the formal annexation of California from Mexico occurred with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo signed February 2nd, 1848. The treaty also ceded other territories to the United States, including Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of other states.
Yeah, they stole it. They stole it, man. They stole it. I'm telling you.
So what we're trying to show now is that those people they calling gangs are actually the tribes that reconstituted. And the only reason why they as violent and bloodthirsty as they is because they warriors.
Right.
And the problem is the infiltration of government that made them kill each other, made them fight each other to bloody end. They need to understand what we're telling them now in order for it to click in their psyche, right? That the reason why Tukey woke them up and Raymond Washington woke them up and Putin woke them up was because we was under attack by foreigners, right?
Remember, you said the Chinese came. This is where the Chinese mix come in at while some of them are family members.
Look how long we've been dealing with them.
Right.
The Qin dynasty, the first unified empire of China, existed in 221 to 206 BCE. It is not believed that the Qin dynasty or any other Chinese dynasty before Ming dynasty sent fleets to California or the Americas. The Qin dynasty is most known for its unification in China, the construction of the Great Wall in the region of Qixing Huang, the first emperor. The Ming dynasty, which followed the Qin dynasty, did undertake significant maritime expeditions led by Jing He between 1405 and 1433. A controversial theory suggests that Jing He's fleet may have reached California, but is not widely accepted. The first documented contact between China and the Americas came through Spanish galleons trading between the Philippines and Mexico in the 16th century. That's not true though.
Yeah, they lied about that part. And the first part was during the 300s or the 200s. That's when the darker ones came, and then now after so long, they started to get lighter and they mixed in with us. But they're finna show it right here. All right, so this what the boats look like that they sailed in, because these people built boats. The Shin dynasty. All right, that's what the boats look like that they sailed over the first wave of them. All right, so now these are some of the people that was in Asia. See, they always show you.
This picture right here, Elder, is an African president early Asia edited by Ivan Van Sertima.
Yeah,
she's Filipino.
Yeah, she Filipino, but that's Asia. That's part of Asia. Yeah, that's part of Asia.
You're correct. Right? You're correct. Yeah, the tell who they is. And the caption of the picture and the African presidents in early Asia.
Real Asians look like this lady right here.
And a lot of them, like the Koreans and the Hmongs, especially.
Right. Okay.
And don't mess around and go to Nepal.
More agents,
Mm-hmm.
more people from China, what they call in China, they got ran out. We're finna show you. Look at the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the hair. Okay. Here's some more.
They from more around the Nepal region.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they still Asians.
Yeah, they agents. Agent. This what, and this ain't the Asiatic black man. This ain't the Asiatic black man. I'm telling you, the
The
Asiatic
Asiatic,
black man, huh?
the Asiatic black man is the ones in India called Dravidians.
That's right. That's right. This because the Asiatic black man got straight hair. These people don't got, but they can. But if you want to say, oh, they Asian, I mean, are they from Asia, and then try to tie that, but they ain't the
Well,
Asiatic.
they got a range of textures to their hair, right?
Right.
But the difference is the phenotype of the haplogroup of the Y chromosome.
Mhm.
All of the Asian tribes have different father lines.
Right.
Most of the Asian tribes have the mother lines from like 2 or 3 women that trace the mitochondrial back thousands of years.
Right.
But it's not until the advent of Y chromosome DNA did you have the diversity that they have in Asia now in physical phenotype.
Right.
Right. So when you say Asiatic black man, you're talking about the first black man in Asia, which is the Dravidian of India.
Right. Hindus.
Right. The original, not the ones they call Aryan Hindus.
Right.
The Aryan Hindus is Enlil children that
Right.
took over, and that's why Inky children had to be at the bottom.
More agent.
Yeah.
But all this gonna play a part in what Hoshin. When I tell you about Hoshin, how they look. That's why some of the Indians, when you look at them, they say, "Damn, he look Asian, but he blacker than black." It's because the Asians that came over here were dark skinned people.
Yep.
That's
And
the
like
killer.
she come from more northern.
Light skinned later. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's because they had to give a drop of blood to the pale face.
Go ahead.
Them the ones that look like they running shit over there.
They're the Lees.
Yeah, but they all got their drop of blood though.
Yeah. All right. So now the chink eyes part come from these people. They really was the original people. They one of the oldest tribes on the planet called the Sands people. In the
This is the motherland. This is the motherlands of Asia.
That's
the
right.
Khoisan.
E people. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Khoisan was the root stock of females that married different foreign males to produce the diverse genetic pool. And the daughters of some of them married a different man that passed on a different Y chromosome.
That's right. And the age and features come from is these people. These are the real ages, not the people that they show. The dialect that they speak, you can hear and listen to traditional Chinese. You can hear the correlations in the language. The language that these people speak. They go back.
It's called Xhosa language.
Yeah, that's right.
XHOSA, the Xhosa language.
Thank you, Rod. Here's another one. Now I'm showing you this because I'm showing you how the Asian features come about in our people. Not they don't mean that these people were like white Chinese. No, these people was all dark skinned Chinese. That's why we still looked at dark when they came over here. Look at the Chinese. Look, some of you, my little cousin got this look on him. I'm telling you, but he Asian.
I got cousins like that too.
It's Sans man, and this ain't the Down syndrome that come from the mix with the Derus.
Mongoloids.
Yeah, with the Terus, with the cone heads. This ain't that mix. Right?
Yeah, but remember the father lines change.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, because see, this is what we got to keep repeating, because it was 12 daughters of Isis, and Isis made 13, the queen mother. The 12 daughters had different skin colors and different hair textures, from buttermilk yellow to chocolate brown, and all of the complexions in between. The 12 daughters made up the 12 prime genotypes on the matriarchal line, what we call Grail lines. All Grail lines is the mother line, which is the earthborn heritable right to reclaim the land, goes to the women through the Grail lines.
That's fire.
And so when you see the diversity in the people on the planet, it's because of the introduction of foreign Y chromosomes that can all be mapped out by as different what they call haplogroups.
Right.
And this will show you the difference between the ones that was from like the Anu line. The Anu line is that's called the Golden Lotus line.
Right.
They live in the hills of Japan,
Right.
right? But their children came out of the hills and married into what we call the common Japanese, who also had to give up a drop of blood.
Yeah, they
to
got family.
science.
Japanese. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because the Japanese, some of them was over here, and they said some of them left from over there, came over here, mixed in, then went back to get that one drop of blood, just like you said.
So
Dr.
remember,
York talk about that in Let's Hit the Record Scrape book.
yeah, remember I was telling you that we have a contract, a family compact with the Asians, and that's why we use the name Lee and the South so strong.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
fine.
it was so we will never forget that the kindred, right? And this is why you got two groups of $5 Indians, right? And here they go with Big Mama getting their lessons.
Look, this lady, they don't ever show you these people. Why they don't ever show you these people in China? The black Chinese, why they don't ever show you these people? And these people always be sitting around, these people learning. Why do they never show you the black original agents, man?
The same reason for years they didn't show you us on the regular TV.
That's right.
We had to come on the last show before the lions pop on the TV.
Coming down from that Qin dynasty.
Yeah.
The Shin people look like her. That's when they came over and mixed with, they look like her.
So you know the Chinese just released a report. They major geneticists and claiming they heritage and ties to the old ancient black tribes. Right? They call them Africans, but everybody that look like that not African because we inhabited the whole planet.
Right.
Right? Like the Australians are not Africans. They don't even they blood types. I mean, their blood typing is even different.
That's right. All right, this right here, just the Hun. She got the Hun or the cone head mix. You know the Huns, right? But they were dark. Some of them were dark skin. Got the one drop.
Yeah, like Attila. They paint Attila as pale face. Attila was darker than me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see some of these features coming out in some of y'all family members because these people mixed in with us over here, especially on the West Coast. That's why we're showing you this. This ties in with how some of the people got Asian features that's dark, and then you may have some even just came over recently. But some of the Native American tribes got Asian features because of these people coming and mixing in with us. All right, these statues of the dynasty, right? Some of the warriors. They would, and you can look at if you look at the hair texture, just like Buddha. Buddha had nappy woolly hair. Like all these guys got a certain texture of hair, right? Just like the people I showed you at first.
So those are the terracotta statues that was found in the pyramid in China.
Go ahead, break it down, bro.
Right. He had a terracotta army because the emperor that was buried there believed that when he came back, he was going to have to fight this war at the end of the age. And he took his soldiers with him in the form of terracotta armies so that when he be rebirthed at the close of the age, he would already be born with a genetically programmed army to defend the lands, what we call Asia today.
Okay. Now this where we started to tie them in over here, how they came over here. All right, so in the Hindu culture in India, they worship the dragon. It's going back to a group of extraterrestrials called the Nagas, who they worship in India. And when they brought this dragon worship. So this is the China flag, right? Now you also see this is in India, the dragon worship, right? Now I'm gonna tie it all in to how when they came over here. And show you how the Aztecs were really mixed. They wasn't the original Olmecs. They are the children, right? All right, so these people also came over here and mixed in with us. This who Raw, I think he was just talking about these people, Raw. Some of these people came over and mixed in with us. This type of Indian. So this is
like
how
my cousin Londa.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And the Pocahontas types, they all got this mix, and they got their hair texture right. The ones like the over in Virginia, they came all the way over and mixed in with us. And this is why your hair is not all over. Some of y'all hair is not all the way nappy or 8-7 because they mixed in with us. And this is how we inherited the Indian part. The Indian part come from these people from Hindustan, right? They came over. All right. So here goes some of the dragon worship right here again in the Indian culture.
That's a Nagas king, the seven-headed cobra, which is sacred in India.
That's right. And this also pop up when they come into ancient Kemet. You see it start seeing the Egyptians putting it on their headdress with the cobra.
Right.
Come up.
So what the seven-headed cobra mean is that he was christened by 7 Nagas.
Okay.
Which is matriarchs, believe it or not.
Go ahead. That's fire. I believe it. That's why mother.
So
go ahead.
It ties back into the 7 sisters of the Pleiades and the Pleiadian influence on the earth culture.
Okay, fire. This is in India right here, right? So you see the dragon worship. Now look at this. Okay, this is in China, right? How they got the dragons everywhere. This right here is like one of their temples, right?
So they got 4 major lands in Green Dragon, but the main 4 lands is the Black Dragon, the White Dragon, the Gold Dragon, and the Red Dragon.
Okay, fire. That's fire. So
that's all tracing back to the Nagas lands.
That's right. The Nagas influence in ancient Kemet and in China. Right now let's go come over to America. Now, when these people Hoshin them sailed over here, they brought that culture with them. And this is how you get the pyramids down there with all these dragons on it.
This is significantly older than anything you just seen.
Yeah, but the same people. The same people.
It's a teaching. It's a teaching that go back to Atlantis.
Yeah. See what I'm saying is the same people.
Yeah, we also over here embrace the Nagas philosophy, right? And the Nagas philosophy was where you get Tahuti dressing up as the winged serpent.
That's right.
Right. The Crip walk and the blood walk, the Hoover stomp, all of these dances you're supposed to have on feathers all wrapped around the pyramid of Tahuti. And each one of the sets is performing a dance, and it looked like that the dragon is dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing they do with the steppers in the colleges, with the fraternal brotherhoods and the sororities.
Mm-hmm.
Is they teaching them these different dances that when you put on the feathers and everybody dressed up in their colors, the colors is supposed to form a plumed serpent that wraps around the Great Pyramid. There's a symbol of the awakening. It's an ancient Atlantean ritual we used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was ever a Mecca, we was making pilgrimage to Mexico.
Yeah. So that's the connection. The dragon connection is on both sides of the field right there. You know what I'm saying? Asia, all that, right? Here goes some more dragons. Right? They tell you that it's a connection. All right, I'm just more dragons.
This is Mesoamerican you showing now.
Yeah. Meso, because them people is the mix. They come out the mix, the Aztecs.
Right. But when you talk about the architecture is influenced by the doctrine of the era.
Yeah, the Nagas,
right.
The Naga beings.
Right. So the doctrine was first, all of the temple priests of the world was taught out of Mesoamerica first.
Mm-hmm.
By the Olmecs, who became the Aztecs, the Incas, and the Mayas. Same people in the Mississippi, it's just the same people.
Mm-hmm.
All the way down into South America, Peru, Brazil, what's it? I can't remember all the countries out of South America right now. But all of those countries was influenced by the teachings of Tahuti way back in Atlantis.
That's right.
And Tahuti, so the reason why we use the serpent, right? Monkey see snake, monkey can't forget where snake move. it's based on the principle of the Sako Mao that they don't teach over here, but they teach it in Asia.
Go
The
ahead.
Sako Mao is the monkey man. When a person identifies the wisdom or a wise person, even if the monkey mind can't physically see him, you know where he at.
Right.
Right. So when they translate into the psychic ability of the human, it becomes a psychic program to follow the teachings of a wise person across cultural barriers and social constructs.
Right.
If the person can give you the keys, well, we call them the keys, but they bits of information that allow you to construct a big puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And you have more than one, and you have a series of them throughout history. So this is why we got to listen to the lectures of Dr. Clark. We got to listen to the lectures of Dr. Bean. We got to listen to the lectures of Dr. Sabi. We got to listen to Bobby Hemmett, because they all giving us pieces to reconstruct who we are post amnesia.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The babies is waking up, and we have to put enough information in the public domain where the youth can begin to take it to another level.
That's right.
I think we pretty sufficiently done that at this point, because we have so many wise youth coming out that's explaining the fact that we know who we are to a degree that is undeniable now. But 5 years ago, we barely could remember, and people like Chief Warhorse and Dan Calloway, it's like they was fighting an uphill battle. Now we fighting a downhill battle. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. The babies got it now. You can't trick us no more.
Nope.
As my man on TikTok say, we know the truth now.
That's right.
Right.
You can see.
So, yeah. So at this point, we just trying to get people to see that we know who we are and we know how you hid us from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is about, showing you the West Coast tribes, the lay of the land, the movement of the people. Because that's going to prove the point to the ones who are spiritually in tune to their genetics.
That's right. She a Californian too, but this right here, you can see that like the Asian features, but them the Sans man features. These people don't got some of them don't got Asian, but they can look Asian. But this the Sandman features. So some of y'all might have the Sandsman features, but you ain't got the Asian mix, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is a different one, but I'm gonna show you. All right, here go Chief Warhorse. Y'all know about Chief Warhorse. Shout out Chief Warhorse. This is my chief right here, one of my chiefs for Chata. But you look at how she looked though. So that she got the Hindu mix in her too, right? And that's how we got our certain type of hair texture.
Mississippi masala.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so this brother, like, look at this brother. All right, so this is what we looked like before the mix, but you can see, you can start looking at it. If you start looking at the eye mix, you will see that we already had mixed in with Hoshin.
So this guy right here, his appearance, he would be represented as either an eagle or a hawk chief.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The way that his nose is shaped and his face, right? That's they used to wear the beak of the eagle right down over their nose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fire. All right, so now on this side is the original brother, and then when you add that dark skin Hoshin, you begin to see the Asian mix, but he's still dark because they were dark too. And he actually almost will look almost darker than the brother on this side. But the dark skin Asian mix created this mix. But he already probably had a Hindu in him. That's why his hair was like that, right? The Hindu that I showed you earlier. But the
not
Asian
necessarily. You don't have to have no Hindu in it.
Not necessarily.
He could have been just a hybrid between a Mississippian and an Asian.
Yeah, and he could have had the tribe you just showed earlier called the Diggers. The Diggers wasn't Asian, and they had straight hair too, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah. All right, so it's more of the Asian mix, but look how dark he is.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of these people don't have straight hair. They have what's called hollow hair.
That's right. Go ahead, bro.
The hollow hair is a whole different Y chromosome haplogroup.
Yeah, it's got the Huns. The Huns mix the Huns from the Chrome heads. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. We have to know who people are to know who people are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we use the phenotype and the genotype, you can read the genetics, the genotype based on the phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
The physical characteristics will tell you more about a person's diverse background if you know how to read the features. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody don't know how to read the features. It's like Paleface say we all look alike, but when we look at each other, we know the distinct difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
Why always?
some of us think all pale faces look alike, but to me, they look drastically different from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
I grew
Look
up
at the long
around them
nose.
so I can identify their features better.
Look at the long nose. He probably a combination of 3 mixes, like the Almacs, Chinese, and the Hindu mix. But like I say, these are the people that they don't even really show you these guys, the dark skins. They show you everybody like. They don't show you none of the dark skinned Indians from the back in the day. Here's another picture of someone they look like. Dark skin. All right,
Yeah, this got all of them in there. So I'm glad you brought this picture up.
Yeah.
Because this picture, for years, everybody was thinking that the brother on the left was the runaway slave,
Right.
and the brother on the right was the chief. It's the other way around. Them was the first slaves brought over here.
Yep.
From the slave villages, from the wars with Huns, Vedics, and Mongolians.
That's right.
You got to know who the Ottoman Empire was fighting. You got to know who the Roman Empire was fighting, and then you got to follow their cultural patterns. When they caught prisoners of war back then, they didn't lock them up. They put them in what's called a slave village, or it's another name they had for them. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a village for the ones that was captured in wartime, and they would force them to work the land. And this is where you see in Robin Hood, the guy that's collecting the taxes, he was coming to collect based on the crop production.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so based on the crop production and what they sold off the land determines what the tax collector get. We ain't had that shit over here.
So this brother is the agent, this brother is the original. But if you mix these two together, you get them dark, them ones I showed you. But the originals were really darker than him, though. The original agents that came over.
When they were saying the runaway slaves was joining on to the natives, this is who they was talking about. The guy on the right was the runaway.
That's right.
Them was the ones they was educating in Indian schools to pretend to be us.
That's right, Rod. I forgot to put your receipt in there when you dropped it. I got the receipt on in the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was the thing that they used with the. I remember I told you with the Trail of Tears, they just didn't move us across the land because we wouldn't move. So they marched those people in, and because we wouldn't move, they wanted it to look like somebody was moving.
Yeah.
But it wasn't us. And the ones that took sides with us, we know them because we gave them ceremonial tribal status, but they don't got no casinos. And they get treated just like us.
Right. Bam. More the agent mix right here, though.
No.
They giving these.
So he got a high percentage of Caucasian in him.
That's right. He mixed with the Andrew Jackson mix. That's what I was gonna explain.
He might not even be no native from over here. He might have came straight off the boat from Europe from the and dressed up like that.
That white, just like Chief White, what his name was, the one that was up there. I can't think of his name.
Oh, you talking about Chief White Wolf?
Yeah. He wasn't one of us neither, right?
Nope. He was a ceremonial chief made ceremonial chief by somebody that wasn't us.
That's right.
So he could sign treaties.
That's right. And this right here, this would be the same. See, he had the age.
He look Italian to me.
Yeah, because the Italians, I could get into that too. He could pass for Cuban and all that too. But check this out. This dude right here, because Andrew Jackson, they took Indians from their home and the women and children and made children with them, him and his soldiers. when they came and raped the people on the East Coast, and some of them mixed in with us, right? On these, and they gave them the reservations. They gave them the reservations, but you can, I just want to point out, you can see the age and features though. These are the ones they showing you though when you tell you the West Coast, and they showing you these Indians that's really mixed. They ain't the original Indians. All right, she got the age and mix. You can tell, right? These are people they saying the Hopi
Look,
Indians.
I got a Facebook friend look just like her.
Yeah, she look like my sister a little bit too.
And she know her tribal history and everything.
They would be like Navajo, Hopi, right? These people, but they got Asian in them. Okay, hold on. Let me go to the next one. I think this one that you put up there, Rod.
She's West Coast Indian. If I put her up there,
Yeah, she West Coast
if I
Indian.
sent you that, that's because she West Coast Indian, and she look like she related to almost everybody that's watching.
Yep. And she got the Asian features. Now think about this too. All the people that's in Hawaii, these are the natives. These are the what you call it, Samoan, all that. That's the same people, right? They got the Asian mix with us, right? That's the Samoans, like the Rock, the Wrestler. What his name is? Yeah. So all them when people ask, because they was asking about the Pacific tribes. These are the Pacific tribe people right here. They are us with the Asian spin, with the Asian drops of blood.
Well, you know the Tongans and the Samoans, they've been there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
They ain't just been there no 200-300. They've been there for thousands of years.
Right. Before Hoshin, we was already over here millions of years, right? We was over here with we marched the camel back over there, and that was 6 billion years ago.
Well, not just the camel. We gave elephants to Asia and Africa.
That's right. Millions.
We gave lions to Asia and Africa.
Millions.
The only reason they got lions in Asia and Africa right now is because the royalty from over here gave them as gifts to the royalty over there, and then over time they begin to escape and breed in the wild. Black conquistadors, specifically free Africans and mulattoes, began arriving in California in the late 18th century. That's the 1700s. Remember, the 200 years was 1500s, and I said the other one was the 1800s. It was another 100 and some years, right? California in late, particularly as settlers, established missions and presidios. For example, settlers of African and Indian and Spanish ancestry, including mulattoes, were documented as participants in the founding of San Diego in 1769, Monterey in 1770, San Francisco in 1776.
It wasn't none of this. It was not all on that tribal map you showed us. None of these. It wasn't none of this stuff then.
Yeah, no, all of this. Remember, America didn't take over California until the late 1800s.
That's right.
We just went over that earlier.
18.
Look like us, but they ain't us.
Yeah.
Big Mama, 45. She been single for 8 years because her old ass husband died. He come with the sweetheart swindle. You think she gonna fall for it?
Go ahead.
So the gold rush began when colonizers, following the Lewis and Clark expedition, made their way into the California desert and began to pan for gold. They learned it from the tribes because over here we had so much gold. Go watch National Treasure. Nicolas Cage go in the underground vault between DC and New York.
That's right.
And you see all of the gold, because we used to have in some of the ceremonies, we used to have so many people dressed in gold that the sunlight would damn near blind you from it.
Right.
And it was all polished. Now it's in the National Treasure, concealed and collecting dust because they can't touch Big Mama Bank.
Then they robbed the gold in 1933 when they signed that.
That was Fort Knox gold. Fort Knox gold is what you call the petty change drawer.
Okay, all right.
Right. So a lot of Fort Knox this is what they were stocking it with. Right. But it wasn't just the California gold rush, because we got to remember everywhere where you have rivers running through deserts,
Mm-hmm.
you can pan for gold. It's
Right.
just that they hit a major vein around the San Diego area or San Francisco area.
Right, San Francisco area. Yep.
Right. And when they hit that major vein, the message got back to the people that was trying to shut Big Mama Banks down. The economic hitman delivered the message back to DC as we hit the mother lode. And then they sent all of these refugees that were starving for wealth because they were starving across the land to collect gold.
Mm-hmm.
The California Gold Rush began in 1848, had a devastating impact on Native Americans in California, leading to a drastic decline in their population and destruction of their way of life. Here's how the Gold Rush devastated Native Americans. Violence and massacres. The influx of miners and settlers led to widespread violence against Native Americans, often driven by racism and the desire to seize their lands. State-sponsored militias. Remember when they was paying money for our heads until the heads began to flood the post office. So they said, you're bringing in too many heads. We only want the scalps now, and we can count them from the scalps.
Yeah.
If you don't have hair like this and you got cracker hair, why would they pay for it?
Right.
Because that would be one of them, right?
Right.
So some estimates suggest that tens of thousands of Native Americans were killed during this period, contributing significantly to the population decline. Now, I only got one question.
Yeah.
While the colonizers are doing all this murdering, what is the tribes doing? Laying down and just dying?
Right. No, they fighting. Yeah.
Right? They act like we wasn't even fighting. They just tell the story like we was just some go along, get along, bow down and take it.
Yeah.
No, we warriors. We was, and the only thing that slowed us down is they challenged us to educate ourselves above the condition for a ceasefire, and they still cheated.
Mm-hmm.
They still cheated. They still murdered the ones that could end the game early, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or exiled them off the land.
Mm-hmm. They do smallpox and measles to try to help wipe the natives out. That's the same little tactic, germ warfare.
They never stopped using it. They never stopped using it.
Yeah.
Every time we think they stopped, they didn't stop. All of this dirty stuff they was doing to us, they still doing it.
Displacement, lost land.
The gold rush led to the seizure of Native American land, disrupting their traditional hunter-gathering and fishing practices. What they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Tribes were forcibly moved from their ancestral territories and relocated to reservations, often in areas with poor resources and suitable for the traditional way of life.
Yeah, in the middle of the desert. They find the worst part of the desert and drop them off, say, oh, this is your reservation right here. A lot of
Native Americans were often enslaved or forced into labor by white settlers exploited in mines, ranches, and other enterprises. Wait a minute, I thought they said they didn't have no Native American slaves and they brought them off from Africa.
This the part right here. This the part. They enslaved them and as prisoners of war.
Yep.
All right. Okay, we got to go through all this, but this goes on to how they enslaved the natives for labor. And like this part right here goes with that. Remember that movie, The Patriot, right, Rod? When them British came over here, they went to one of the plantations and they said, if y'all come fight for King George, we'll free y'all, right? And the people on the land, they told them, man, this our land. You ain't gonna free us. We already free. We just working here. We just working for this guy. Yeah, that's what they told that dude. So it must mean that it was just like working on the job, and they turned the whole story, the narrative around like, hey, he was a slave working out here picking. Nah, they wasn't no slave. They were just working there, getting paid, just like a regular job.
But remember, we didn't need money.
Right? Before they came.
Right. We had everything we need. And anything we didn't need, we just go tell Big Mama what we need. And if we needed something that ain't invented yet, she'll call in her smartest uncles to invent it.
Mm-hmm. This part. Hey, Rod, this part right here where it says the state of California passed laws to facilitate the enslavement and forced labor on Native Americans further contribute to their suffering. Now, on this part right here, they had passed an act to say, well, if you catch a Native American not working, you can arrest him, bring him in to the jury, and then they can fine him and then make him work for 2 months, 3 months for free. Like it was some crazy. Like they talk about it on that tape, the tape I just put out called the
What
Gold.
you think chain gangs was?
Yeah, pretty much.
Remember, first they was paying people to work the railroads.
Uh-huh.
They gave us heroes
Mm-hmm.
like Big John,
Mm-hmm.
like John Henry,
Mm-hmm.
right? These was big old Mississippi brothers, look like Tukey.
That's right.
And they used the driving of the railroad iron as a form of weightlifting because over years it formed the body, banging that metal on metal.
Man, we
and
should
make
be
the
known
body
for-
harder.
That's right.
The San Francisco 49ers professional American football team got their name from the California Gold Rush of 1849. Thousands of people known as 49ers flocked to California in search of gold that year. Look at the year, 1849 now. The 49ers team was founded in 1946. Excuse me, y'all. And the name was chosen to honor the historical significance of the 1849 Gold Rush.
Man, if you a 49ers fan in California now, after this team is after the slaughtering and murdering and genocide of your people, you a crazy man. Ain't no
Why
way.
do they name sports teams what they name them, Elder?
Yeah, right.
It's a reason. Look, the reason why sports teams and their mascots get their names is because it has to represent a significant event or person or animal in history.
Mm-hmm.
It's a historical reference behind every mascot. Remember, they got to give us the opportunity to discover the fraud and deception.
Mm-hmm.
And they use the sports teams because we watch them on a regular basis. Sooner or later, a diehard San Francisco 49ers fan is going to research what a 49er is, right? The Great Migrations were significant numbers of Black people moved to the South to other parts of the United States began in the 20th century and continued until the 1970s. While some Black individuals had begun migrating to California earlier, the major influx into California, particularly during the first and second Great Migrations, occurred between 1910s and 1970s.
Jim Crow.
Now, the reason why this is important,
go ahead,
because when Garvey came, if you look in the 1910s, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is right around the time Noble Drew Ali is discovering the fraud.
Right.
Right? Because he formed the Moorish Science Temple in 1913.
That's right.
Okay. So in 1910, he's in the act of discovering who these people called Moorish Zionist Jews were.
That's right. Got him.
Right. Now remember, Farrakhan said that until we get past the Jew, we ain't gonna never be free.
Right. And you talk about the different time periods of the migration right there. It goes in on that. Mm-hmm. Now, there's another guy that started
Raymond Washington.
Yeah. Raymond Washington started the Crips, and so him and Tookie was like the pretty much the founders of the Crips. This Raymond Washington, for people that don't know, and he plays a significant part in Cali because the COINTELPRO took him out because they got FBI files on him too, and they said that they didn't like him because he had the same type of ideology as Fred Hampton in Chicago, and he didn't smoke or drink or none of that, and he was
straight laced.
Yeah.
So one thing about Raymond, he was the negotiator.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He understood people, and he understood power and he knew how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
The alliance that he made with Big Tookie was because from his perspective, they was the two strongest
That's right.
on that part of the land, and they
Right.
needed to join forces so that they could be an unstoppable network of tribes.
That's right.
Now remember, under them came other sets, but the sets begin to take on the banner of the blue after Raymond and Tookie made a truce.
Right.
The same thing happened in Chicago with David Barksdale and Larry Hoover.
That's right.
Larry Hoover at the time was ambassador to Stone
Mm-hmm.
under Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew he could get more power if he joined with David Barksdale after he had a conversation with Prince Oldtimer and a couple of other his guys. They decided that they didn't want to be ambassador to Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So then they joined forces with David Barksdale to form the Gangster Disciple Nation.
Mm-hmm.
That became the Growth and Development Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why they use the imagery of what's considered evil is because it's voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
They told us voodoo was evil, but our power was using the voodoo because they was using something similar to voodoo on us.
Mm-hmm.
But theirs came out of Babylon. Ours come out of the temple sciences.
Mm-hmm.
And it's teaching you how to use the land to fight your wars.
Mm-hmm. That boy Raymond was kind of swole too, kind of like Tookie. If you don't really, I don't got a picture of him, but he was kind of swole too. He wasn't big as Tookie, but he was swole for his size too. Another thing, huh?
Yeah, I remember back then men worked.
Right.
Boys aspired to be men, so they followed the men around and imitated the work. So the lifting that they was doing as they hit puberty made them hard, literally, muscularly hard, mentally hard, and spiritually hard. They was ready for combat. They was soldiers in a war.
That's right.
Still is.
This Raymond right here in the middle, this is brothers. Now look at this. Now Raymond kind of get his ideology from the Black Panthers, right? Once the Black Panthers got took out by COINTELPRO, that made these brothers start forming what they call these gangs, right? It was really tribes. It was just tribes, like Rod said, reforming, and so like Raymond Washington was a chief, right, on the land, and I'm gonna tell you another guy that's in the FBI files. They got the same type of ideology that Raymond Washington had. Jeff Fort didn't smoke, didn't drink, none of that neither, right? And he was like the Peace Stones or whatever. So that's why Raymond Washington come up in the FBI files on the West Coast. But like I said, after the Black Panthers, the US group, all the little black organizations that got dispersed by COINTELPRO operations, that started forming these brothers to start banding together in their own neighborhood to start protecting themselves from police brutality. Like a lot of people was getting beat up. They were beating old people up. The police would be anybody got caught. Hey, Roy, could you go in on the lines? They had the lines where if you got caught outside of this at a certain time, curfew lines or whatever in California.
Yeah. Normally it was divided by the train tracks. That's why they used to always make the reference to going across the tracks. Matter of fact, if you read Soul on Ice by Eldridge Cleaver, he said that he practiced raping sisters in the hood so he could get his skills good enough to go across the track and rape them white girls that he wanted to rape so bad.
Wow, that's crazy. He a maniac.
He's savage.
Yeah, he a maniac.
The Crips are widely attributed to have been founded by Raymond Washington in the late 1960s in South Los Angeles. The Bloods, often seen as Crips' main rivals, emerged in response to the Crips. Remember, I told you when Tookie wake up the Crips, it's going to automatically wake up the Blood.
Right.
with the Pyrus and other gangs forming alliance to counter the Crips' influence. The Bloods were particularly formed as a result of Crips' attacks on students at Centennial High School,
Yes,
and with Sylvester Scott and Benson Owens, who later formed the Piru Street Boys and West Piru, respectively, at the forefront of the counter movement.
Right. And the Pyrus, they'll tell you that they ain't blood, but like the bloods come out of the Pyru. The Pyru is the original treetop, is the original set. And they really wear burgundy, some clans now, but they all come from the blood stem out of Pyru. Pyru is the original set. They're the OGs.
That's the original organizing structure out of Red House.
That's right.
Out of California.
That's right.
This big Tookie.
Right.
That's Crooked Man Walker.
Right.
Right. He harnessed the energy of the lightning. So when them Crips Crip walk, you have lightning storms when they celebrating something that Tookie initiated.
Mm-hmm.
When the Bloods be walking, you hear something called rolling thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put them together in harmony and balance between the two tribes, then you have something called the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? The perfect storm was designed to sink all of the ships in the ocean of the Pacific that surrounded the Califia Castle.
Mm-hmm.
The problem came in is that they made them fight each other, so they could never establish the harmony and strategize to overcome the oppression of the fleet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. But right as Tupac said, we back for everything they owe. And they just so happen to owe us everything.
That's right. And look, this right here, this image is one of the images that really got pushed high on the COINTELPRO operations, because he's a leader of a tribe that they consider Black militant group, and he's on TV now. He's shining like that, right? So everybody wanted to be like Took. He was like a superhero. Took became a superhero. Go ahead.
When I was living in Grand Rapids when this episode of The Gong Show came on.
Mm-hmm.
My Aunt Audrey lived in California.
Mm-hmm.
My Aunt Audrey is the old medicine woman from the land.
Mm-hmm.
And she called my mama and told my mama that she had to make me watch The Gong Show so I could see who Big Tookie was.
Wow.
Soon as I seen him, I recognized him. That's the Crooked Man.
Yeah, the Crooked Man right there.
Right? Patron saint of the ones that work with the iron. Patron saint of the handicap. He always send a boy in blue, a Crip, to go protect the handicap that's being bullied by somebody else.
Yep, that's what Tookie was always do. That's right.
So even though he was a bully, right?
He bullied the bullies though.
Yes. Because he had to keep the bullies in line.
Yeah, Tony, he bullied the bullies.
Yeah. So that's how you, in California, you used to determine who the chief was by them knuckles right there.
Right.
If you not finna be the leader of the set and you can't win no fights.
Right. Catch a fade, catch that fade.
If you can't handle a fade, you can't run. The LA will tear your ass up. San Diego will tear your ass up. They'll tear your ass up all up and down California if you call yourself trying to run a set and you ain't got no hands.
That's right, bro.
Any one of this, I don't care what color it is. It could be a cholo. It could be blood. It could be a Crip. It could be a Mexican mafia. It could be a Booyah tribe, Samoan. It don't matter. If you ain't got no hands, you're not running that, because they got to have a chief that could defend the mothers with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
You can't defend nobody if you can't fight. Mm-hmm. That's how they know who the chiefs is. They just so happen to be good at kicking ass. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do, when you study the history of the Disciple Nation, the history of the Peace Stone, everybody had a fighter.
That's
They
right.
all had a champion.
That's right.
And a lot of this consolidation of the littler, smaller groups, smaller tribes become absorbed by bigger tribes by my champion versus your champion, winner take the lead,
Right.
right? And a lot of time, this is what got them put on the map,
Right.
right? But tribes also have a contingency plan because they try to push the one that's the thinkers to go to the books.
Right.
If you have a promise, a gift to excel at life, they're going to try to shield you from the competition for territorial rights to lay down the law on your own land.
Right.
Right? You exempt. You the tribe member that has to go to school, has to
Right.
get a career. Now they don't have no respect for them guys. They see a young boy with promise now, they trying to get rid of him because too many of them rose out to be able to reach back into the community. So the ones that had the character of the chief that's going to reach back and help out the community, they try to take them out early before they can gain the resources to help their community. Because even though it's in the contract, it's a non-enforceable part of the contract. You can't tell me not to honor my cultural responsibility to my community.
Mm-hmm.
That goes against God's law. That overrides man's law.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when they find the youth that had promise, gymnast, boxer, football player, actor, they send them on to go be good at what you do and let these goons like this, let these guerrillas shake the community.
This Craig Munson, that's who Tookie looked up to him because they was the Avenue Boys, and actually
Him
Randy
and his brother.
Huh?
Him and his brother, they used to lift weights down on the beach.
Yeah, nonstop. And them boys, that's who Tookie them wanted to be like them boys, the Avenue Boys, right? But like I say, these guys is in competition with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all them in the lifting contest, and they banned these brothers because they was gonna beat Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in order to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to win, he wouldn't have never won.
Okay, so they had to create in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
You had the wins only got a couple % left on the phone, Elder. But in bodybuilding, you had to go through a certain amount of lesser shows before you can compete in the big show. A lot of these guys was so busy lifting weights for the love of it that it didn't ever occur to them to compete in the competition. They was just being themselves. Big Puddin' right here.
Yeah, he started the Pyro. Yeah, he one of the founders
Yeah,
of the Pyro.
this was their equivalent to Big Tookie. He was the bully that bullied the bullies.
Yeah,
in the Red House.
This boy he was a real killer for real. He did put in his work against the Crips.
Yeah. Hey, ain't he the one Jewel shot?
Oh, I know he was getting his car shot up by everybody.
The Jewel that was the girl that sang on Death Row.
I don't know.
I think it was because I think she was dating him.
Yeah.
And then they end up having some kind of conflict and she shot him.
Okay. Oh, that might. Yeah, I might go check that out. I ain't really did. I'm gonna do a tape on him, but I ain't really looked more into him really, right on the Pyro. But also they put a series out about Frank. What his name is? Freeway Ricky Ross, and his uncle, the dude they have playing his uncle is a like an invitation of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here go the treetop. We got like 2 more slides, Rod. This it. You can.
I don't know if we're gonna make it out. The Treetop Pyro outside of the Pyro Gang Alliance, which is itself part of the larger Blood Gang Alliance. The gang notability for its connections to rapper YG 400 and DJ Quick.
All right, could you just go over why T.
Okay,
Rogers?
This is T. Rogers. T. Rogers, because of the traditions of the West Coast, they didn't have a structure that we could use without Jeff sent him to Cali.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Keystone under Angel Bay, and he's the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
He's the bishop because he moves at the angle on the chessboard.
That's right.
So he went from California to LA to help organize those sets out there and give them, try to get them into forming the structure, even if they didn't use paperwork.
Right.
Because they were stuck on the oral tradition out there. They want to see your paper.
All right, I'll just go over this right here. Operation Crash, what they used to take down Tookie with everybody, the whole Crip organization. And this right here is like a you can go look this up. This like COINTELPRO operations within LAPD. Operation Crash, where they came out to the games. All right, now this right here, the last this right here, like the last one right here, Rod. Now this right here is the treetop people that live in the treetop. With the treetop, the treetop tribes you talked about, Rod. I think Rod might have went dead. But I can't I think Rod phone might have went dead. But these right here, the treetop people that was down in Florida, and a lot of them migrated to California. And so that's the treetop connection too, with the tree, with the it being already a tribe called the treetop people. They lived up in trees. That's what they look like right here. Here's another picture. I think Rod phone went dead, y'all. Everybody get ready to get out, though. I just want to show y'all these pictures of the treetop people that connects with the Pyru. Shout out my Pyru treetops. Shout out my Hoovers. Cuz. Shout out the rolling car. But they labeled us as gangs. We're not gangs, we tribes. This is a treetop tribe right here. Right? And the COINTELPRO operations turned us into gangs. And that's the last 5 for this class about the let me stop saying my screen. That's the last Raw guy. I think Raw phone went dead, y'all. But that's the last slide for this class, and we hope you enjoyed that. And we're gonna be coming back with another. Me and Roy are gonna do more of those classes, the slide classes. But that was on the calendar. I think we're probably gonna do Philadelphia and New York next on the tribal. We're gonna probably just go through all the major states first, talking about the history of that state with the natives and things. And like I say, if you want, it's other tapes. If you want to get the full tape on the Gold Rush, it's on the video side. The other one called Native Americans of California, you can go on that the video side, and also the Queen Khalifa tape ties into this. And there'll be 2 more tapes dropping Sunday that also ties into this class. Also, in the all them classes is locked into the descriptions. Also, we got like another class called the Native American Hoshin, the Hoshin part about the Asians coming over mixing in. It's a whole class in the descriptions called the Hoshin coming over class, like Native. It's like Native American Heritage Part 3. You can watch that, and you can watch Native American Heritage Part 1, which talk about the Ormac mix and all that, and how they brought the rubber tree, goes into detail. So we got all the playlist for this already set up, so you can go check out all those classes for this tape. So peace and love, harmony, free all the political prisoners, free Dr. Malachi Z. York, free Larry Hoover, free Jeff Ford, right? Free Rashard Jamal, free anybody that's fighting on our behalf, right? Peace and love throughout the balanced universe to all. Wadu.